So the key is to get it at.
That's always the key. Always buying it right is always the key.
Buying it right, which was a big, which was a big moment for me in learning all this. It's not what you sell it and hold it at, but it's what you buy it at.
Yeah.
Is a big property.
Yeah.
It's a big piece of it. And so, and then the thing I didn't know was really the local market but I knew that. I knew in some of the markets, it's tough to find a decent house for like 50 grand.
Oh yeah. It can be tough here in Lincoln to find a decent house for 50 grand too.
But the thing is, in Lincoln you can, which is very unique.
Yeah.
Around the country, it's very rare to get anything decent below 200.
Oh yeah, depending on where you're at, for sure.
Depending upon where you're at. So, me starting off brand new, starting small is a good thing.
So rentals are the way that you want to go. You don't want to flip houses.
I'm so new.
Yep.
I am not saying no to anything. Meaning that if there was a unique opportunity to flip a house,
Yeah.
That'd be great. If one makes sense to do a rental, that'd be great too. I'm so new to this that I'm really not gonna pigeonhole myself yet. Well, I'm only gonna do rentals or I'm only gonna do things like that. Because each house is so different, you really can't. Like I saw one the other day. It was on the HUD website.
Okay.
It was being listed for like 170, but the houses around it were going for like 300. So, but the downside is out near the Colorado border.
Mm.
So it's way out there. I wouldn't want to do it.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough to manage.
That's gonna be a little tough to manage. So for that, if I did get that, but it's by the time I looked at it, it was already under contract. So something like that, I would, if I got the deal, then I would just try to sell it.
Yeah, I've always told people as well is, set yourself some criteria that you want to follow along, whether it be a rental or a flip, and if it doesn't meet the rental criteria, then you look at it to be a flip criteria, and if it doesn't meet either, then you pass.
Right.
Yeah.
And then my I do come across a number of properties that there's a ton of properties out there now that the value they're being sold at is like 75% of what kind of a retail value is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm new enough that I'm really just beginning to look hard and seriously with some cash.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you have money that you would be able to invest as well?
I do have some money. It's in this world. It's not a lot of money.
What's not a lot?
$30,000.
No, that's plenty.
So, and as time goes on, we're being able to save more and more.
Yeah.
Just recently paid off some stuff, and not including Christmas.
Tell me about it. You ask my wife about Christmas. I'm just the guy that pays the credit card bill.
Right?
She's the one that runs it up.
Right. I mean, we got some great stuff for the kids and toys, and I wouldn't regret it.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy with that. But that being said, the family stuff goes forward as always, and but we're able to save some money and continue to save some. So that's a big part of our life right now.
Yeah, I mean, having some money to invest initially is going to set you above others right out of the gate, because a lot of times there's people that want to get started and don't have a dime, literally.
Yes.
So whether it be rentals or flips, I mean, you can leverage that $30,000. Let's say, for instance, if you wanted to flip something, you borrow some money to purchase the property. For me, let's use me as an example, on a loan, and then you use your $30,000 to rehab it. And obviously, the end game is to be able to sell it and make more money. But you've then leveraged your money to do that, or with a bank as well.
Yeah, and we've looked at. Dirk was good enough to put me in contact with some banks. I wasn't really enthused about the 5-year kind of balloon.
Really?
I think kind of like a long term, kind of fix it and then kind of fix and forget. But at the same time, it seems like what everybody does around here is these balloons.
Yeah.
You do it for 5 years, and the balloon in my mind was, well, the interest rate goes up like 20%.
It's the risk that you do take a little bit there, yeah.
Right, and so there's some of the banks that do offer more of a fixed rate for 20 to 30 years.
Now, if you're looking for fixed rate stuff, if you buy stuff in your personal name, you can get long
Yeah.
fixed rate stuff there. But if you're buying it under a business entity, yeah, there's only a few banks that are going to do, 10-year fixed, maybe 15-year fixed
Yeah.
commercial loans like that.
And so it's the commercial loan, which I'm not. The commercial loan is what I'm just getting used to.
Yeah.
In terms of, I don't have an LLC set up, right? It's just under my name right now.
Yeah.
So I don't. So that was kind of a new part. That was kind of a new part for me.
Well, I'll give you what I do with my commercial loans. Usually it's got the 5-year adjustable as well, but after that 5 years, I've already got another built-in 5 years. So for instance, let's say I get a loan for 4% on a 15 or 20-year AM right now. 5 years down the road, it's going to be whatever the treasury rate is, the 15-year or 20-year treasury rate is at that point, plus 2.25.
Okay.
So I've already got another rate locked in, which isn't going to then say, someone's come in and say, oh, well, I'm going to charge you 8% instead of 5.25 or whatever that may be.
I just have flashbacks to the to 2008
Yeah.
California.
Well, thankfully, we're not California, that's
California
for sure.
loans.
Yeah.
Everything went up, after I was looking at them, we lost our house and things like that, so.
The other thing I'll say as well too, though, is to protect yourself with that, whether the rate goes up or not. If you're buying it right, it's not going to matter because you're already at 75% of value when you buy it.
Right.
And you pay it down for 5 years. Now you're going to be at 68-ish percent,
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
You'll be able to get out.
So if you buy it right enough, a lot of those finance problems kind of take care of itself.
Absolutely.
So I'm optimistic about that, and most of the time, from the knowledge that I do have, is that if you find the right deal, if you find a good deal, the money comes, and the money
That's 100% true.
tends to work out. People will beat down the door into.
It's 100% true.
So
If you find a good enough deal, I guarantee you will get the money from somewhere, someone. Absolutely.
So that's my. So the point. So that's kind of my mentality and my kind of plan right now. My primary goal is to find a good deal, and then to assess it from there. Ideally speaking, we'd like to get more cash in hand to do this. But at the same time, depending upon what I come across, see
Look
what
to
happens.
borrow some other money, yeah.
Look to borrow some other money, or if it's a good house for a flip, that's fine. If for a rental, that's fine.
Yeah.
Depends upon what
Yeah, when I first started, my goal was to be able to acquire some rental properties and not have any of my own money into that. So just like you've mentioned already, you find a good enough deal where you can either buy it and refinance it to get all of your money back out, or buy it, fix it up, and refinance it.
I haven't heard of anybody. I've read about people that they find banks to finance 100%, but I haven't seen anybody around here.
Yeah, nobody around here that I know that'll do it. But what you can do, again, like I've said, is let's say you borrow the money from me to purchase the property. You now own it. You go to the bank and say, hey, I want a long-term loan on this. They're going to give you 80% or 75% of appraised value because there's no longer a purchase price involved. You already own it.
Okay.
Whereas if you just went to them direct, they're going to say 80% of purchase price or appraised value, whichever is less, right?
Right, and so then if I pay, for example, if I pay like 70, like ideally speaking, 60%.
Yep.
And I purchase for you, you give me the 60%. Then I go to the bank to refinance it, and they give me the 80%.
Right.
So I pay you back the 60, then I keep the 20.
You got it.
Right.
You got it.
That's where I like to be. The other thing, Derek was mentioning that every once in a while you come across some homes that you were
Selling on.
Yeah.
Wholesaling.
Wholesaling?
Yeah. Are you going to ask me if I have any right now?
I was going to kind of ask you about how often they come along.
Well, I'm kind of a greedy guy. I like to buy as many as I can for myself, but
Nice.
I have a few come along here and there. I would say if you're looking for a wholesaler, I'm not the right guy to contact, but because I like to try to keep as many as I can as rentals or flips.
Sure.
But there are a few wholesalers out there that seem to have quite a few come along every
Can
now
I
and
ask you
then.
how you find yours?
Yeah, you can. I'll tell you. I do a lot of marketing to find my deals.
Letters?
Letters, postcards, pay-per-click, Facebook ads directed to different type of people. Believe it or not, there's 60-year-old people on Facebook, and I send ads to them, and they call.
Sure.
Reaching out to pre-foreclosures or someone that's got a notice of default or tax liens
How do you
or
reach out to them?
inherited properties.
Letters first, or?
Yeah, or a phone call if you're aggressive. A phone call to someone that just inherited a property is pretty upfront, so you could be prepared for someone to say mean things to you. But a letter, something kind of a soft touch that says, "Hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm interested. This is what I do."
Can you ask how much you spend a year on that?
A year?
Or a month, or?
Yeah, it's I would say anywhere from, depending on the month, probably around $5,000 a month, which is pretty light comparatively speaking to others. And there's some people that I know in Omaha that spend close to 20 grand a month.
And that's not just that's not just stamps.
Right.
Or,
Yeah, that's everything. So there's a cold calling. Some people do cold calling. So they have a whole system set up where they've hired someone to do that, calls people all day long. That's part of that marketing expense. Or have you heard of ringless voicemail?
yeah.
Yeah, people set that up, or direct mail, whether it be letters or postcards, or
So you're paying a service,
yeah, I don't do any of it myself. So
but you pay a service a certain amount.
yes, absolutely. Yep. So I set up all of my, let's just use direct mail as an example, because that's probably what I do the most of. I set up all of that direct mail. I get the data that I want, for instance, to mail to someone that owns a property they don't live in, so an absentee owner. I get all that data, send it to the mail service company, the direct mail company, and just outline, hey, this is how I want this delivered out and what letters I want to go when. And once that's all in place, it's plug and play, and they just handle it.
How many properties do you buy a month?
Do I buy a month? Well, that's a great question. I would say 3 to 6, depending on the month.
Nice.
Yeah. So 2 years ago, we bought 70 some odd properties. Last year, we only did 48. So it just kind of depends.
Sure.
And the market's gotten a little bit more aggressive, so it makes it a little tougher to find the good deals. But
So if you were starting off with today with very little cash, how would you get your first property?
I would go to that meeting and meet as many wholesalers as you can find in that meeting. Have you ever heard of the term called driving for dollars?
Yes.
Okay, that requires a lot of your time, not a lot, but it requires your time to go around and just drive through neighborhoods, try to find properties that look distressed, and send them a letter. Just go back, make your address, or write down your address, go home, look it up on the assessor site, write them a letter saying, hey, I have some interest in your property, you ever had interest in selling?
The tax assessor site
Yeah,
from
Lancaster County.
Lancaster County.
Yep. So those two are great ways. Bandit signs are also great ways because those are very cheap. They get taken down very quickly, but they're very cheap and very effective, believe it or not.
Really?
Direct mail will probably be next.
Okay.
So past that, you start getting into Google pay-per-click and Facebook advertising or radio, TV, stuff like that. It's all very expensive with a low return. I mean, you're going to be spending $6,000 per deal in that avenue, whereas bandit signs you're probably spending $800 to $1,500 per deal. So just kind of depends. Where driving for dollars, you're probably spending little, but you got more time. So there's a trade-off there.
So the highest return is the letter writing.
Direct mail, bandit signs, networking. Networking is your best. I mean, again, that's depending on how you value your time, but networking, you're no out-of-pocket money. You're just talking to people, and they're going to get their money, but if it's a deal for you, then it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I recommend, absolutely. It's networking, and if you don't want to do some of that marketing stuff yourself, I don't know, is that something that you would want to do?
Well, I'm just beginning, so at this point, I'm not saying no to anything. But
Yeah, fair enough.
at this point, trying to gather ideas and to see what's possible and to see what I can do at the time.
Yeah,
So for right now, filing that away for probably a later point in time, and the networking at the meeting sounds
that's going to be the most promising right now.
sounds pretty good. How long ago did you start with investing in real estate? Or
Full-time in November of 2013.
Part-time before that?
Yeah, very part-time. I wasn't in, when I very first started, I bought a lot of mobile homes. It's very low cost of entry. I was very hands-on, do the work myself, managed everything myself. You know, I had 42 of those at one point in time, but those are depreciating assets that I obviously didn't want to have long-term. So I did that starting in 2007, 2008, and then 2013 came around, and that's kind of when I switched gears and turned it on to more full-time. I used to work for the railroad at the same time that I did all of the mobile homes. So
Sure.
quit the railroad and have been doing this ever since, full-time.
Which railroad?
Union Pacific.
No way.
Yeah. You work for the Union Pacific or something?
No, we're just at the museum.
Oh, that's cool. Yep. I used to drive trains, believe it or not.
Did you really?
I'm not kidding you one bit.
Did you? My kids are the trains.
Yeah.
So we went down to the Union Pacific Museum and all that good stuff. So.
That's cool.
So it's a big deal for us, though.
I wish I would have looked to see if in a locomotive they have what's called a reverser, and it's basically the key that makes the locomotive go. You stick this, it's like a peg, and you just stick it in the hole and you push it forward if you want the locomotive to go forward, or you pull it back if you want to go back. I'll look at home, see if I still have one of those laying around somewhere. Your kids probably like it.
Oh my gosh, they're
And you'd be like, well, you have a key to the locomotive now.
Now you see the train.
That's right. Yeah.
They had that big old, really old steam engine.
Came through, or is just out there?
No, it came through like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
Or so, as we were down there for that. So
That's cool.
it was a really good deal. So
Yeah.
we were very excited.
It was the railroad was a good way to help me get to where I am. It wasn't something I ever wanted to do long term. You're sitting on that train. I hate to be the guy that gives the not so glorious story, but it's boring up there. It's boring.
Yeah, and then it's also boring. Then I can imagine. I just hear horror stories. But
Oh yeah, we don't even want to get into that.
I don't want to get into that, but it would be either kind of a real boring, or
Or very sad.
very sad. So I understand that.
Yeah.
But I appreciate your time and appreciate.
Oh, you bet. That's no problem.
Appreciate the information. Just kind of sitting down for a few minutes.
You bet. What other questions do you have? Anything else? I'm here to share the best I can, anyways.
I'm sorry?
I'm here to share the best I can, anyways.
There's a lot of real estate websites,
Absolutely.
Is there any one place that you recommend?
That is a great question. I try to look at it from a perspective of just starting out. That's not Derek. But I thought it was when it lit up there for a second.
No.
When you're first starting out, I went to all kinds of different websites, anywhere from like Deal Machine to List Source to try to find your names. But as you'll find, you can get all of the data, or most all of the data that you want, right from your county assessor office.
The county assessor office.
Absolutely. I mean, that's where all of the records are held. All of the real estate data is there. Assessor, register of deeds.
And it's online?
Online. Yep. The only thing that you couldn't get from your home office would be probate information. So people that inherit things. But You can get notice of defaults, you can get eviction notices, you can get absentee owners, you can get long-term owners. All of that information can be gathered just right from the assessor website. I don't know if you're a computer guy at all, but
I can find my way around. So the county assessor's office, you just go in and look for defaults and
you can go online and look
go
for
online.
it. Yeah.
Go online and look for the foreclosures and the
Absolutely.
defaults and who's going to be sold.
Yeah, not the foreclosures. You can look at the notice of defaults. There's a difference. Once it gets sold, or once the auction goes past, I mean, then it's passed.
Or once it goes up for auction.
Yeah, so notice of default gets sent out, says, hey, you have 30 days to pay your bill, and then you'll get a notice of sale that'll come out. And once that sale happens, let's say the bank buys it back because they're going to sell it on their own.
Once the notice of sale goes out.
Yeah, then it's 5 weeks until the sale. You can find that online as well on the
Okay.
assessor site.
But you would want to send a letter at the default.
Yeah,
That'd be the time.
absolutely.
And then anything after that. The auctions, then the notice of sale then would go back to the bank, and the bank would.
It could go to the bank, or it could go to another buyer, like yourself, if you went to the auction.
The auctions for the county, the county holds the auctions. Do you ever get involved with that?
I do not implement that into my business model. There is a couple people that in town that are very aggressive with that, and that is their sole business model almost. You know, they're going to go to the auction, they're going to buy every single one, and if they're not buying it, you are definitely overpaying. And their play is a volume play. They're just going to buy so much stuff that maybe they lose a little here, but they're going to gain here.
So they don't care. They're just buying everything no matter what.
Yeah.
Good, bad, ugly, or just
Right.
no matter who's offered, they're just gonna.
Yep. And like I said, if they're not buying it, you're paying way too much. So that's why I don't get involved in it. Just didn't implement it into my business model.
Interesting.
So, but yeah, all of your information can be found online.
Would you pay for any information online?
Yeah, you absolutely can.
That wasn't the question. Would you? Would you spend money Would you spend money on any websites or information sites that are out there to gain information?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
When I first started, yeah, I paid for lists of names. There's so much free information out there that you can get the information you need. Bigger Pockets. Have you been on biggerpockets.com? Yeah, there's tons of information out there. Yeah, so no need to pay for information if you don't want to. You can. Don't get me wrong. When I first started, I paid for information.
Okay.
Sometimes it's worth the money to be able to go from here to here a little bit quicker. Absolutely. You get some good deals by talking to people, tell them what you want to do.
Do you ever in a position or in a place where you have more inventory around houses that you can handle?
Nope, not yet. If I'm ever in that position, whoever helped me get there will be my new best friend. I have not been in that position yet. People always ask, what kind of properties do you want to buy? It's like, well, I want to buy all types of properties. How much money can you lend? I don't have a max yet. So if you're bringing me properties for me to buy and I run out of money to be able to buy as many as you're bringing me, we will be best friends. I can guarantee you that. Same with if you're borrowing so much money from me that I run out, we will be best friends.
What's the conditions for the hard money loan?
You can only lend to a business entity. I don't charge any other fees whatsoever, but you pay interest only monthly, and it's anywhere from 1% to 3% per month.
Okay.
Okay, so you annualize that, and that's pretty substantial, obviously. But usually it's on the lower end. The reason why we do it 1% to 3% is because some people use the private money to do some transactional funding, or where they're buying it and selling it same day or next couple days. Since we don't charge any other fees, we charge that higher interest rate because it's the same amount of work whether you borrow that money from me for a day or if you borrow from me for 6 months. So, yeah. So yeah, 1% to 3%, interest-only payments made monthly. via ACH. We set it all up at the closing, and I take first position lien on the property.
And what percentage down would I pay?
I try to lend 100% of the purchase price.
Really?
Yeah, if you're buying it right, I will lend you 100% of the purchase price. That's why I say your $30,000 could be used for rehab money, because I don't lend rehab money,
Sure.
but I try to lend 100% of the purchase price.
Because I can setting up an LLC is not hard.
Yeah, that's easy.
Especially if you're paying 100%.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that's.
Now, if you emailed me and said, hey, I got this property that I'm looking to buy and it costs X amount of money, I'm looking for that loan, and I email you back and say, hey, I can't lend you that, it's probably because I think you're overpaying.
Okay.
But if I don't think you're overpaying, good to go.
How far and wide would you loan? I mean, if the property was in western Nebraska.
Oh, that's fine. Nebraska, anywhere in Nebraska is fine. Outside of Nebraska, I only lend in deed of trust states. So there's a deed of trust state and a mortgage state, and that's just a different way to secure the lien on the property. Well, between those two, there's different foreclosure processes for those two. In the mortgage state, I don't want to lend to the mortgage state because the process can take up to 6 months, whereas the deed of trust state is 5 weeks.
Okay.
So, like for instance, Iowa is a mortgage state, so I don't lend in Iowa.
What other states do you lend in?
Missouri is another one. Again, all deed of trust states.
Okay.
So there's 17 of them or 18 of them, something like that. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Clear as mud?
No, pretty clear. I was a little shocked at the 100% mark.
Oh yeah.
You don't see, that's very rare.
Absolutely.
A lot of places are 80 or 75, and then the more you do it, the higher the percentage goes. But
well, again, though, if you're going to buy a property and I think you're paying 100% retail value, I'm not going to lend you 100%. Then.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. And I wouldn't go at this point. I wouldn't go to a property unless it was I'm trying to avoid the extremes of paying absolute retail for the thing.
Yeah.
And
being too conservative that you never do anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to avoid those things, but I'm a little bit more on the probably not
fair enough.
Too conservative.
Fair enough.
Done anything yet. So.
Yep.
And I want to make sure that what money I do have we can continue this. It's not just buy one and then done, but we can. So that'd be the two main goals.
Absolutely.
Is to buy something profitable, then whatever happens with it, I can continue to roll that money into doing it again.
It's a great plan. It's a great plan.
I
encourage it. It's a great plan.
Any other things besides an LLC? Or your requirements?
No. I don't want your tax returns. I don't need to know your job income. I don't care. I'm not kidding you. I literally lend to you based on the asset only. That's it. That's it. You're going to email me 5 pieces of information about the property. It's going to be the address, purchase price, what you think the rehab amount is, how long you expect to have the loan for, and a little bit of what that rehab is, just a description. That's it.
Worst case scenario, if I need contractors or how to find a good contractor.
I tell you, go into that meeting, ask people, hey, I asked about Facebook. There's a really good group on Facebook as well of, it's called Lincoln Real Estate Investors, and people are on there all the time saying, hey, I need an electrician, or hey, I need a plumber, or hey, I need a whatever. But yeah, go to the meeting and ask.
Okay.
Yeah, then there'd be plenty of people to offer up, plenty of contractors.
Okay.
Absolutely. So that's easy. That's the easy part. So.
I think that's about it for now.
Okay.
I have my...
Kind of like drinking from a fire hose sometimes. You just gather, if you take too much information in, then you forget some of it.
Yeah. Any other tips for somebody just starting out?
I just say...
On how to get ahead quickly?
How to get ahead quickly. Network. Like, talk to as many people as you can about what you want to do and what they're doing. And don't let over-analysis paralysis set in. If you're... Don't be so concerned that you get every T crossed and every I dotted that you don't ever do anything. At some point, make an educated decision to move forward and move forward.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
And so you buy at 100% cash.
I buy cash, yeah.
And then you do a hard money loan at 100%.
Yes. As long as I think the value is there, yes.
How often have you been wrong?
How often have I been wrong?
About the value not being there.
Oh, on the loans?
Yeah.
We haven't had any loan go bad yet. Yeah. Yeah, for sure, not but yeah. No loan has gone bad yet. There's been a couple where the people didn't pay, but the value of the property allowed them to be able to sell it to get out from under their loan to us. They didn't make any money, but that's not my problem, as ruthless as that sounds.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Just what it is.
So, yeah, as far as flipping properties, how often I've been wrong? I've been wrong once, and I was wrong big. I got out of the criteria that I had set for myself and tried to flip $1 million property in Omaha and lost $67,000. So, yeah, is what it is at this point.
Yeah, it is what it is. But it's nice to know that if just what the track record is.
Yeah.
And making money.
Yeah. Otherwise, we have not lost. All of the rentals do well. All the flips do well. I mean, some make more than others, obviously,
sure.
But yeah, it's good. It's good and can be good.
Okay.
Good measure. Hold that. All right, there it is.
See, how can you not smile with him around? All right, so there's kind of a typical meeting with someone that's kind of interested in real estate investing. Maybe they don't know what to do or how to get started, something like that. So I try to offer up some advice that I can. Maybe some of the key takeaways for him is to be networking is important. Get out there, talk to as many people as you can. Tell them what you're doing, what you want to be doing. Some of the other things is to buy real estate, maybe you don't necessarily need to have your money. You may have to have some good credit to be able to refinance something long term, but you may not necessarily need your own money, or maybe you could even find a partner that might be able to help you out with something like that. I encouraged him to come to the RIA meeting that we have here in town that I happen to host, and I expect to see him there on Monday. So if you guys want to keep tuning in and getting some more tips, maybe some knowledge from my end, make sure and smash that subscribe button, give me some likes, and we'll see you next time.